Welcome to the 2024 World Skeet Championships. Hosted by the National Skeet Shooting Association here at the National Shooting Complex in San Antonio, Texas. Over the next 9 days, hundreds of skeet shooters from across the world will be gathering here to compete, spectate, and socialize.
Monday morning, we will kick off with the Wayne Mays event, which is a 100-bird event with 25 targets being shot of 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 28 gauge, and 410. And then in the afternoon, we'll be shooting our doubles event.
This mixture of calibers has been around since skeet began a century ago, and this event, the World Championship, having been run since 1935. There are a lot of skeet events this week, but it's the big one that really matters, the main event, which kicks off over 2 days of 12-gauge courses.
This year is a 200-bird race instead of 150 like it has been in the last few years.
HOA, or High Overall Champions, are the winners of the combined events, the true World Skeet Champions. Attaining this title is no easy feat, however. If you want a chance at even being in a shoot-off, you cannot afford to miss. This was my first ever World Skeet Championship, and I was ready to get involved and learn everything about this game of perfection. Luckily, I wouldn't be navigating this journey alone. I was going to be joined by 8-time NSSA All-American team member Kaylee Lawson.
I'm a little nervous. Skeet, I've always said, is quite easy, but at this level, I'm sure it's going to be a bit humiliating. I think I could do with some expertise.
I think you will be surprised at how much more goes into it than just swinging the gun left to right.
On that, I'd say we should go and shoot some practice. I'd love to just, let's get started, get a first round out of the way. What do I need? Skeet
shooters typically wear pouches so you can leave your vest at home. And with that said, let's go practice.
I'm looking forward to it.
Let's do it.
I brought my own safety equipment, but the rest I was gonna have to find around the complex. Luckily, Vendors Row is filled with shops and staff that are significantly more knowledgeable on skeet than I, so I headed here to learn and find what I needed.
I'm about to head up to the practice fields and shoot my first American skeet in America. What is the shell of choice? What are the regulations?
Well, if you've got a 12 gauge, our AA129, that's a 1200 feet per second, ounce and an eighth 9. That would be the preferred load. If you're going to shoot 20 gauge, this is the most popular. This would be our 1200 feet per second, 7/8 ounce 9.
You can shoot 7/8 maximum in 20 and ounce and an eighth maximum in 12?
Correct. Now, if you're shooting...
That's a lot of bang.
It is a lot of bang.
And it's 9 shot all the way, or maybe 8, 7.5s?
You will have people that like 8s, 8.5s. It's really your preference, what your gun likes, what your choke, gun combination likes, but number 9s would be the preferred skeet load.
Now I knew what I needed, I headed to the ammo barn. This place is filled with shotgun ammunition by nearly every manufacturer. All stocked up for the morning's training session, I went back over to Vendors Row in search of a skeet gun.
I'm about to go and shoot my first round of American skeet in America. Okay. You said I could borrow a gun, but I have no idea about skeet guns and what is now the thing.
The skeet gun was one of the original field sports, right? So they're shooting birds that are crossing, going away, coming at you. So they wanted to set it up so that you had every presentation. So when the guns were designed, what they did is they designed them so that they shoot fairly flat, right over the top of the barrel. And they're not at long distances, right? So your average skeet shot is only going to be 21 yards. Skeet shooters, they're one of the guys that really, really worry about good patterning. Right? So good patterns, because I've got a bird that's going to be moving fairly fast, and I'm shooting it on edge. So I really have to have a good pattern in order to do that.
Where are we at now? Longer barrels? Different game?
Same game. What we're seeing though is we're seeing a combination. One is we're seeing a lot of guys have been shooting skeet for years, and they're getting older in age, and they're looking to basically get that same type of performance in a lighter gun. So we are seeing a few guys starting to shoot the parkour's barrel.
So moving from the standard sporting barrel onto a parkour barrel.
To a parkour barrel, which loses about a pound of weight on the gun.
Technically, we're talking a flat shooting gun. You don't necessarily need this kind of setup. So a parkour, you're not losing. There's no disadvantage in a parkour for skeet.
Right, there's no disadvantage with the exception of those people that like that smooth, consistent feel, right?
Yeah, I mean shooting, 500 targets?
Right.
I'd quite like the extra pound of weight in the gun.
From a finish standpoint, the stance, if you're coming from, let's say, trap to skeet, they've got a lot more barrel movement than a trap shooter does, right? So trap shooters, he's coming from here, he's going pull, pull. He's got maybe a little bit of movement on the quarters, right? Where a skeet shooter, particularly on station 6 and 8 and some of the other ones, you've got a lot of gun movement. So your stance is a little bit more aggressive, a little wider. It's a little, if you watch these guys, they'll kind of crunch down into the...
Yeah, there's a lot of squatting.
A lot of pre-setup.
And a lot of them look like the stocks are a little shorter than you put a sporting stock because they're really buried into it.
And remember, with this game, it is a game of precision. So the targets are always thrown the same way, same speed, same... height, everything is, they want to be the same.
It's you who is the variable.
You are the variable, right? And so you've got records where these guys they're counting how many events that they've broken the 100. And that's the records they're breaking. So not only did I break it last event, but I broke it 2 years ago, and I haven't missed since then. And those are the records that these guys are trying to maintain, yeah.
Once the spec was chosen, we spent a little while making sure the gun fit well. With my safety kit, shells, and a gun, I headed up the hill to the practice fields, where Kaylee introduced me to Nathan Boyd, who knows a thing or two about skeet.
High house, low house, pair.
Yes, sir.
2 in, don't reload between high and low.
2 in, don't reload. That's right.
Bang, bang.
Yep.
All right.
And hopefully you don't have to take an option yet.
Skeet, like most sports, has its own language. Words like
No, we do.
option
I just let myself
needed
in.
some explaining.
So the option is confusing because it's not actually optional where you shoot it. It used to be back in the old days of the game, but the game's advanced now. It's where your option is you repeat the first miss that you have in the round of skeet. So if it's on station 1, let's say you miss the very first target out, you immediately shoot that high house target again. If you go over to low 4 and then that's your first miss, then you have to immediately come back and try to break that target again on the next shot.
And if you shoot everything straight, your option is a repeat of the last bird.
Correct, yep, low 8. 4x is a perfect 400 out of 400 targets. It's 100 with a 12 gauge, 100 with a 20 gauge, 100 with a 28 gauge, and 100 with a 410.
Running a box.
So that applies to shoot-offs. It's when a shooter successfully shoots 24 targets, 12 pairs, and which is what a full round is of doubles, 3, 4, 5. So it's 3 passes from station 3, station 4, shooting the high house first, 5, and then back to station 4, shooting the low house first on the pairs. And you do that for 24 shots, and that's running a box.
Pull! I'm way better at the low house.
All done on station 1, we moved on to station 2 for another 2 singles and a pair.
Do we rotate?
No, in skeet, the game is all about consistency. So you have your squad leader who's going to lead all the way, all 4 rounds, and on every station.
So you are the squad leader.
In this, I'm the squad leader. Yes, sir.
Light them up, let's go.
Pull. Pull.
Pull.
So far up there.
That might not have been the greatest target.
No. That would have been a no bird, more than
comp.
likely in competition.
So if it is that windy that the target is out, deviated by a certain amount, it's no bird, call again.
Referee's discretion on what we would call an irregular target.
Okay.
So the referee has a lot of discretion to make that kind of call.
Station 4 is also 2 single targets. From station 4 to 8, the angles start to get shallower once again, and the lead a little less.
Here, out in the middle of the field, This is the shot on the skeet field that requires the most lead.
It's not much more than 2 feet, I wouldn't have guessed. It's
3 to
not a lot.
4 feet.
Okay.
3.5.
Pull.
So I'll have that again, right?
Option. Nice.
As singles, these birds seem simple enough. But as the pair, you don't have half the time. I learned that most of these top shooters will shoot the singles with almost the same speed and move as they would shoot it in the pair. This keeps variables down to a minimum.
Well shot.
And then there's Station 8, right in the center of the field.
Nice.
You can't be looking at the gun, you can't be doing anything, can you?
That's a round of skeet.
Well shot. Bottom of the window, with the gun or the eyes?
Gun.
Okay.
Just like that.
And it's done.
Never feels like you're going to hit it, does it?
Well,
You're good at this.
And then the traditional, after you've shot at 25, the traditional fist bump, common in skeet. You may see that.
You can't fist bump anywhere else?
Oh, you can, but very
You've
common.
earned one now.
Very common on the last, if you run the round with a 25 straight, to get a fist bump, high five.
Happiness.
Keep things fun.
That's when you can relax.
Yes.
See, with sporting, even if you shoot a 1 out of 8,
They still give you a fist bump, right?
But it's more of a pity sport.
Not a bad start, but definitely room for improvement. These simple orange and black domed targets weren't hard to hit, but they were also pretty easy to miss. On our rounds together, I noticed Kaylee was putting 20 gauge shells into a seemingly 20 gauge blazer. On questioning, she pointed me in the direction of Briley to go and educate myself on barrel tubes. Things that are synonymous with skeet.
I've been shooting with Kaylee and she has this system in her gun, and I wanted to come in and ask more about it because it's not something we get in England or in sporting clays generally anywhere. How does the tube system work?
So the way the tube system works is if you already have a gun that you love, we can break open guns. We can put a tube set in there and allow you to shoot sub-gauge through the same gun.
And so you can compete in sub-gauge classes or, I guess, reduce recoil significantly if that's a thing.
Yes.
So I've noticed out there, even in the 12-gauge event, loads of people shooting 12-gauge guns but with 20-gauge tubes.
Correct, and that's what I do as well. That's just personal choice. Some people want as much shot as they can possibly shoot, so they still shoot 12 gauge.
Yeah, the ounce and an eighth I found shot 100 earlier. That's not a pleasant thing. Like 7/8 of an ounce would be much more optimal.
It is, and if you're going to shoot 7/8 or a lighter 12 gauge, to me, I'd rather just shoot 20, and then I'm shooting the same ammunition, the same gun, the same everything for 3 of my events, for doubles, 12, and the 20 gauge event.
And consistency is key.
Consistency is key in this game.
And you still have an interchangeable choke system in these tubes, or not?
Correct, and that's what you see on the front here is we have, these are the tubes, these are the choke tubes in the barrel.
So these are the Blaser original chokes?
Yes, this is actually a set of our titanium, but that's a just regular Blaser choke.
But that's the choking system?
Correct.
Okay.
The tubes are fitted to the end of those chokes, and the extension that you see here, that is the actual choke tubes for the tube set.
When it comes to skeet, you shoot with a skeet choke, or is it not that simple?
I like to shoot a little bit tighter choke, and that just helps keep a more consistent pattern, and I can really tell where I am. Oh, I took the front off of that bird, I took the back off, or I was just dead center. And it
when
can
you
really
do
help you tell.
ink ball it, there's
Gives
not a
you-
feeling in the world, right? that
No,
is better
yeah,
than that.
that's-
You walk
it's-
into the next station, you're ready to go.
It's a great feeling, and to me, if you're doing that, it's helping build confidence for your next shot too. Okay, I did really well. I smoked that one, or I just took the front off of that one. I don't need to jump after it quite so fast.
That's a real...
Gives you a little bit of feedback you can really use.
With the afternoon free and my brain fried with new information, I took the opportunity to look around the 600-acre complex and meet some of the people here at World Skeet.
In New Zealand, our biggest skeet range has 6 fields. Well, we've got 50 here. And I'm just like to say this has probably been one of my best worlds for the simple reason to come here, and it's just very awesome to be here with my son.
At the top of the ground, there are 5 skeet fields. There's 9 next to Vendors Row. The middle bank is made up of 20 fields. And then, as the name suggests, the Dirty Dozen at the bottom of the property has 12. From rising stars to seasoned veterans, every field was filled with competitors hunting down the perfect score. The perfect 100 really is something to be celebrated, and when someone does shoot it for the first time, tradition dictates that the hat they wore must be shot.
It's a very pleasant social atmosphere and some of the best skeet you'll ever shoot. The Americans that host are incredibly friendly. If you get spotted up with them, they are very encouraging. Food's pretty badass as well.
Oh yeah, it's that social aspect I really respect, right? Coming from Britain where skeet is a drier subject.
Yeah.
It's fun here.
Oh, absolutely.
This is fun.
To start with, there's registration, where all shooters must check in prior to competing. There's a pro shop, a food court, and the Hal DuPont Museum and Hall of Fame. This building is filled with clay shooting history, including a barrel of clay targets from 100 years ago. And, like any good museum, an extremely knowledgeable staff.
It's fair to say that skeet is a proper old American pastime.
Old is right. I believe it was, started in the late 1920s by a guy named William Henry Foster. Originally, skeet was shot in a circle. It was called around-the-clock shooting. And then it became a problem when they kind of started pointing guns at one another, going around the circle.
Where does the crowd stand?
Where does the crowd stand? And so they cut it in half and looked for a name for the new sport. And there was a contest that was held. And a lady named Gertrude Hurlburt came up with the name skeet, which is Scandinavian for shoot.
When did the 410 get added? Has that been there since the start?
The 410 was a part of the original skeet shooting criteria. The gun that you're holding there is a Ivor Johnson 410 Skeeter. They called it Skeeter. This was used by a championship shooter named Webster Lyde, who broke every record they could think of with a 4x10 using that gun in the early 1930s.
Once competitors are done for the day, everyone heads on up to Vendors Row and the Shoot-Off Stadium to watch all of those who have tied at the top of their class head into shoot-offs to see who will be champion of the day. Once this seriousness is done, however, the atmosphere changes very quickly. From the seriousness and concentration of competition to a completely relaxed and fun environment. Every night sees free food and drink for all competitors, allowing everyone to sit down and share in each other's company. There's also welcome dinners and award dinners to attend if that's your kind of thing. For those staying on site in the RV park, the conversation and camaraderie continues well into the night. Sharing quality time with friends is such a major part of this event. Whether this is done on a skeet field, at a bar, or next to a barbecue is completely irrelevant. We headed to bed that evening ready for a good night's sleep and an early start for my first proper 100 NASA skeet the next morning. I turned up on the range to meet the squad and the concentration levels were high. There was a little bit of joking and playing around, but it was evident that this was a place to focus and enjoy the game, not act a fool. You have an hour and a half for a squad to get 25 targets done, so we cracked straight on. On this first round, all went pretty well.
Oh, perfect.
With this new set of shooters, it was once again fascinating to watch the stances, mounts, gun styles, and shooting timings of each of the shooters. It's a very different world to sporting, but the fact that each of these shooters has shot 100 straights means that you can't argue with anything that they do. The round went quickly, and the silence and focus was actually very relaxing. It clearly works.
First round of competition, that's a skeet in the bank.
Yes, sir. 24, pretty solid.
Usually with sporting plays, I like the bounce and the shouts, but I kind of enjoyed the
quietness.
Yeah.
The focus.
Yeah. I'm hoping for a 25. I'm like, kind of, I don't want to say it out loud, but I just did.
I should not have said it out loud. Walking back in for the next 2 rounds, a mixture of lost focus, hunger for success, and trying to mimic the speed of my squad mates, pulled out the 2 worst scores of the week. A set of 2 20s. Through these low points though, the squad was very supportive, which really is the skeet way.
There it is.
When I saw Kaylee pull up behind to see how we were getting on, I went over for a much needed pep talk.
Kenny, I'm 3 rounds in and it's not got better. Started on a 24, quite happy, and I felt like it was gonna like happen.
Don't think. Trust it and just do it. You know how to shoot targets. You've done it thousands and thousands of times. It's a very instinctive shot. Try to backtrack on why you missed, make it quick, and move on to the next one and know what you have to do for the next station. This game is truly 95% the mental aspect of it, so every time.
Give me the mantra again.
So I tell myself to believe, to trust, and to have no fear.
We got it.
Do it.
I might have it.
This refocus really helped me to switch back on and stop panicking. Forgetting a miss is vital in this game. Any distraction or change in timing allows for a greater chance of a miss. You need to focus. Walking off this last round with a 23 felt a lot better than a 20. All in all, this experience was a good one. Something to build on for sure, and given that I was at a shoot attended by the best of the best, I asked the 20-year-old Skeet World Champion Schaefer Stanfill to come and shoot a practice round with me and share some of his knowledge and experience.
Everybody in skeet shooting is a big family. So when you get around the skeet shooting scene, you meet people and they become family to you, and everybody is friends at the end of the day, whether you win or lose to that person. Oh. Oh. If I were you, I would start your gun right there around that white stake about bottom of the window.
Yeah. Let's give it a whirl. Oh. Oh.
Pull. Pull.
Watching Schaefer, it was amazing to see how perfect and confident he was with his pre-shot routine and the move that followed. This comes with experience for sure, something I look forward to building up myself.
You looked good. Looked great.
Slower than you, but it felt all right.
You've definitely shot skeet once or twice.
Yeah, yesterday.
Once or twice more than yesterday.
I don't know. I've watched.
Really?
The thing is, I've watched all you boys like a hawk. Well,
awesome.
Yeah, mate. Easy stations. Well, I'm really good at easy plays.
Pull. It is out of targets again.
In which case, I hit that.
We'll just go with that.
At this point, I had received some of the best information from some of the best shooters in the game. Although it would likely take weeks of thought and hours of practice to process properly, never was there a better time to try out the hardest caliber of all for skeet, the 410.
What ammunition would you recommend? What are the limitations? What are the regulations?
I use Remington STS 410 number 9s, 2.5 max dram, half shot number 9 size. That's what I go to. I feel like they pound the targets the hardest, and same thing goes for 28 gauge. If you were to move up to 28 gauge, I shoot the 28 gauge number 9s, 3/4 ounce.
Similar kind of things. You're limited to 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce, and it's not like the 12 gauge where a lot of people shoot 20 gauge. You're using as much as you can possibly get, speed and power wise.
Absolutely.
Well, I look forward to seeing you potentially on the field tonight, and more importantly, tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Take care. Thank you very much, man.
Absolutely.
With ammo sorted, it was time to head to Cola and pick up a gun.
Sean, I'm about to go and shoot my first 410 American Skeet, and you've said this is the gun for the job.
Yes, it is. This is our Max Light Skeet Gun. It's got our lightweight barrels, and it's got a lot of people consider this a high rib, but it's called our low profile adjustable rib, so it'll go anywhere from 50-50 to 80-20. The skeet shooters like this because it does get your head up, your eyes up, so you can see that target better, and that's why this is most popular in this market.
It looks like a 12 gauge.
Yes.
But this is something that we don't really do in sporting. These are carrier barrels, non-chambered barrels.
Correct. It's bored out to 765 instead of 740 like our 12 gauge.
Yep.
You take that weight out. You put little pins in there so you can't put a 12 gauge shell in.
Okay.
And then you'll fit the tubes and it'll weigh the same as your 12 gauge. So the balance is the same, the weight.
So you have a 12 gauge set of barrels and you'll have a carrier set of barrels, and the carriers will do you 20, 28 and 410.
Yes.
I presume that it's just very cost efficient rather than having a full barrel set?
Correct.
Or is it
by quite a bit?
A technical thing as well, I guess.
You have the same sight picture, so even if you have a 410, your sight picture does look a little bit different.
A big gap between the barrels and a 12 gauge receiver, right?
Yes, even on the rib, it's going to be lower down, and it matters at this level.
It really does. They are so easy to miss.
Yeah.
And once you've missed, it's not like there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
And you're having to do it so quick. I'm learning. I'm nowhere near the speed of these guys, but it's impressive.
Yeah, they're quick.
Before I've even seen it, the clay's broken.
A quick function over form gun fit, and I was ready for the potential humiliation that 410 could bring.
If I was nervous about the 12 gauge, I'm a little more nervous about the 410. I've watched some of the guys shooting it on the practice course, and they are good. We spent a little bit of time with the Cola, and in true sporting fashion, I took the beads out. I know it's not the done thing for skeet, but you know what? I'm just looking for any edge I can get. We're gonna wait for Kaylee, and she's gonna teach me the way. A 1/2 ounce 410 cartridge, that's 14 grams.
Pretty standard.
That's not a lot of shot.
It's not compared to 12 gauge.
More precise shot or just same technique, same everything?
Your margin of error is going to be a lot smaller, but you are going to want to shoot the 410 just like you shoot the 12 gauge. Remember, shoot them exactly like you shoot the 12 gauge.
Poke.
Woo-hoo-hoo, right in the middle.
That feels nice.
Doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I can see why you shoot a 20 gauge all the time.
Yep. Ball. Three, 4 years ago, my opinion on 410, it was a love-hate relationship. The last 2 years, I've really come to appreciate it and really enjoyed shooting it. Ball. Woo! That low house was low.
You see, I am turning into a skeet shooter because I'm like, yeah, the reason I missed that one and the other one is because it's different line.
It's different. Yeah. Come on, we call that sporting skeet. Shot.
Oh.
So impressed with the first bird break, I had forgotten it was actually a pair.
Yeah.
You nailed it, but you forgot about the high house on the pair.
Oh yeah.
I really have a long way to go as a skeet shooter.
Oh.
This is why you wear eyes and ears, chaps. Like that.
That's a little better.
That was amazing.
So
that
what
was
are your
actually
thoughts?
Amazing.
What do you think about 410 after shooting one full round now?
I mean, it's not much different, right? But it does focus the mind.
A lot of people overthink it, especially if they've had a good weekend and they're going into it. It's really easy to overthink. And that's where people are typically going to give up the most targets because they're trying to be too cautious with their moves. And so it's really important to shoot it just like you shoot everything else. Same pre-shot routine, same hole points, same focal points. So if you do that, the game's yours.
The game was yours. That was amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
I'll get you back at Nationals.
You'll get me back at Nationals.
Turns out I enjoy the focus the 410 brought to the game more than I enjoyed the 12 gauge event. It was unforgiving, but you don't feel such a donut when you miss. Up until this point, I had spent most of my life thinking of skeet as a bit boring. But now, severely bitten by the bug, and the hunt for that perfect 25, I was filled with questions. And after meeting the president of the NSSA over a beer one evening, I tracked him down to answer a few of my questions.
Mr. President.
How are you?
I'm very good, sir.
Good.
You may have clocked from those few words that this man is not American.
I am not an American, I'm a Canadian. I'm actually the second non-American to ever be the president of the NSSA. Is something that's I'm quite proud of, actually.
It's a global organization.
It is. It is incredibly social. I know people I would consider to be good friends from New Zealand, Australia, Britain, everywhere.
It did shock me a little how social it was, because obviously on the field everything's quite quiet. And what I've seen over the years is groups of quiet people on the field.
Yes.
What I didn't realise is afterwards everyone comes up, has a beer, there's hundreds of people just hanging out, watching the shoot-offs. It's a very different after-shoot vibe because the shoot is quite so focused.
It is very social. You know, as I say, there's a lot of social activities, and after the shoot-offs, you know, we've got the beer and wine. It's just a great way to sit down and talk to people and have conversations, and away we go.
Being a global organisation, anyone can join the NSSA American Skeet anywhere in the world, and those scores will all go into your NSSA average.
That's correct. That's the beautiful thing about skeet is that, you know, the targets are the same all the time, but you are actually competing against not the folks that are going to win world championships. I'm competing against people that are of the same caliber of that I am.
So it's done on averages, one presumes.
It's basically, not basically, it is totally on averages. I'm looking forward to the next couple of years. When I'm not the president anymore, I'm expecting to be up to, quadruple A, which doesn't exist. But
whilst you're still president, you can make it.
While I'm president, it's sort of dropped down a little bit.
Heading back to base, we whiled away a few hours on Vendors Row, learning more about guns, gear, and even the targets we'd been shooting. Interestingly, shoot-offs are shot a little differently to the competition, so if you're ever good enough to get into one, you have to learn a completely different sequence of targets.
You are a 3-time HOA World Champion, which in my head that's the one.
Yes.
Out of the 8 World Championship titles available this week, that's
the one. Like in golf, you have, a different round each day, right?
Yeah.
But you have the overall champion for the weekend, right? Well, just think of our events, we're having a winner for each day.
So those who shoot well enough to compete for the HOA will be competing here tonight, but it's a different format. I've watched other nights, it's these 3 pads.
Yes, and it's all doubles, right? You watch all doubles.
A different game completely.
That's correct, that's right. So tonight what happens is when there's an HOA tie, they're gonna set whoever's tied with the high scores, they're gonna set them out to shoot a regular round of skeet to start. However,
a box 25.
Box 25. However, well, the format is a box 25. However, it is still missing out by station. Okay.
It's sudden death-ish.
It's still sudden death. That's correct. But it's by the station. If somebody goes to station 2, they miss the high house, hit their option, hit the low, hit the pair. They've got a total of 4. Leaving the station. Well, next person comes up and they happen to miss a target. Their total score is 4. They're going to keep going. But
if there's 3 and someone straights it, they're the winner.
That's it. That's correct. So it's over. It puts a little bit of a challenge to the shooter to say, hey, look, I've got to be on point every single station instead of just saying, hey, you know what, if I make a mistake early, I can make up for it the rest of the way, just not miss. And then, maybe they'll feel the pressure when they get over to station 6 and they miss one.
Yeah,
you see what I mean?
But you have to straight it.
You've got to
straight.
That's right.
Yeah, the doubles is quite a hard watch. It's very fast and furious.
Yes.
And there's a lot of jeopardy, but when it's over quick.
Exactly, yeah. When you start getting down to, 3, 4 people, you kind of start looking around like, oh, man, maybe I can do this. Now you start thinking like, oh, I can do this instead of what you have been doing for the last several passes while you're shooting well, and then there it goes. And then another one misses, and usually that's why when it gets down to those last few people, it either goes pretty quick, or when it gets down to the final 2, they're going to be in it for a while. Like they'll both get in a rhythm.
I'm excited for tonight's final because you're going to get the best skeet shooters in the world, and they're going to shoot a round of skeet for everyone to watch. I think that's also kind of a nice thing, because for those of us who are just starting out, I shot my first skeet 4 days ago.
Right.
I've learned a lot by watching and getting to watch all the best people do their thing.
Exactly.
You won your first World Championship when you were 16, right here.
Yes, sir. Yep.
A 16-year-old world champion.
Yeah. It was pretty special. It really was. My first world title was a 20 gauge. It was 20 gauge. And yes, I won it here. But the first overall title, which you were asking about, I won it on this one as well.
This is a real cool sport. I learned a load going to the museum. The amount of women who've been world champions, the amount of kids who've been world champions,
That's
the amount
right.
of old men who have been world champions. Anyone's in with a chance.
That's right. I'll steal this from my father. Whether you're young or old, male, female, athletic, not athletic, in shape, not so much. I mean, the sport doesn't discriminate. If you can physically stay out here to shoot 100 targets, it's anyone's game out here.
It's a beautiful game, man.
It really is.
Beautiful game.
Appreciate it.
It had actually been great fun to watch the shoot-offs all week. Sitting in the sun with a beer, waiting to see who would be victorious. The targets themselves are not that visually stimulating as a spectator, but the jeopardy involved in these high-stakes shoot-offs creates a great atmosphere. Remember, if you miss, you're out.
Welcome to Saturday, the last day of the World Skeet Shoot. This has been a real education. Obviously I've seen skeet, obviously I've understood the basic rules, but to come here and be a part of it has been such a wonderful experience. More than anything, I've learned that it's not about the targets, it's about the people who come here. You go and shoot around, but they are here to see what they refer to as their family, because it is a family.
I grabbed a gun that I regularly shoot for sporting clays from Coles and headed up the hill to see if we could get a 25 in the bank.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
You got it.
Slightly right.
Slightly right. Slightly inside.
Slightly inside.
Inside.
I speak the language now. Pope.
So are we starting over?
Oh my God. Maybe I can't shoot this.
Maybe you need the Krieghoff or Kohler back.
Quite possible. Oh.
You are a sporting shooter. Nice.
Oh.
For the first half of this course, things were looking good.
Oh. Oh.
Woo!
Oh. Oh, you prick. It's the same one I've missed every time.
But the fact that you know that is the fact of why you just overthought it, because you think about it. You were thinking about it.
Oh.
You got it, that one.
Just get on and kill it.
Yep. You want to start over?
Yeah. Challenging.
That it is, especially because you just did what almost every skeet shooter does when they miss a target. Like if they're straight, whether it's in a 25 or you ran the first two boxes going into the third box, it's so easy to overthink station 6.
It's the scariest station.
It's the scariest station, especially when you're 75 straight going into your fourth box, 50 straight going into your third. If you're going to tense up and drop a target, it's almost always going to be over there.
This turned out to be my final lesson of the week. With multiple attempts, I got more and more frustrated before deciding that this first would have to wait.
Didn't wait, if I'm saying that.
Yep. You rushed it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Kaylee, I have really
okay.
enjoyed this whole experience, and I'm going to enjoy hunting down a 25.
We're going to try again in a couple weeks. Let's try again. There'll be skeet fields open.
I'll bring my gun. No excuses.
No excuses. Remember what I've taught you. Remember it.
I will practice.
Practice it.
Come back.
And next time,
dominate.
You're going to get it. I believe.
I'm not done with skeet yet. Well, more importantly, skeet's not done with me.
You only get one first anyway, so what's the rush, right? At least that's what I'm telling myself for now.
What does it take to be good at skeet? What is the essence of a skeet shooter?
Really, it's dedication to the sport. When you go out to practice, you stay focused on what you're going after. And then when you come out to the competition, you've got to let it go and just let nature.
Let the training kick in.
Correct.
Tell you what, it's a lot harder than it looks. I think shooting a 24 for me I found that relatively easy, but I just can't find a 25.
Missing that one target for someone like me just makes me that more excited to go after it again.
Okay, so every miss is just an opportunity to prove that you're perfect the next time.
Correct.
That's a much better way of thinking about it mentally.
It helps.
Yeah.
It's a lot less frustrating.
A little defeated, but also excited for the day it happens, we headed out to see if we could hunt down the elusive mech golden target.
Hello there from somewhere yellow, while hiding amongst my fellow, is the clue. So that's brought us down to the yellow sporting course. We've looked past a few stands, and I kind of assumed that it would be on a play track. But seeing this is so busy on the Saturday, I don't think they'd have done that for safety reasons. Let's go for a look. Well, I thought maybe it would be on a clay trap or something.
What about these clays over here?
You got them there, and you've got boxes of clays everywhere. Though. There's a box of clays everywhere. Tell you what, Owen, you'd make a good detective, mate. I now know that we found this first, but you kind of found it. And so I think you either have to take it up to the pro house, or we put it back, and then we watch whoever finds it second. Well found. Well played.
As the day drew on, we all watched the boards waiting to see if there was gonna be a clear HOA winner, or whether we would get to watch a shoot-off for the title of World Champion. In the end, 3 shooters were tied on 498 out of 500. That is an impressive score. All 3 shooters headed out onto the field to see who would be victorious. And after a fantastic display of talent, we were left with just one champion.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
What a way to win.
No, this has been a long time coming.
How long have you been shooting skeet?
This is my 19th year.
First World Championship?
First World Championship. I've had a couple of thirds, I believe. A lot of AAA ones. A lot of AAA ones, even this week.
But that HOA.
So, this is a level above. I'm ecstatic.
This was the week where I fell for skeet. Something that looked so simple turns out to be an infinitely complex game, played by the loveliest group of people, a family if you will, that one could hope to encounter. If you've never tried NSSA Skeet, do it. It's a whole heap of fun. Congratulations once again to all of the championship winners and class winners. A massive thank you to all of those who made this journey so special, and a massive thank you to all of those who make the World Skeet Championships possible. And finally, thank you to you for watching.